Dominic Grieve was the Attorney General under David Cameron, and he's come out in the last 6 weeks or so a few times, initially to say that he thought that even leaving the European Court of Human Rights, the Rwanda plan of Suella Braverman would be very difficult indeed. He thinks that it doesn't matter whether we're signed up to it or not. The chance of it actually enabling policies to operate correctly are, I think, negligible. And I think he's pointing to the international obligations that we've got, as well as to the problems that are inherent in Rwanda itself. The fact that they kill refugees, the fact that the Rwandan government imprisons and tortures its political opposition, the fact that it is involved in a de facto war with its neighbours, and the fact that if everything goes wrong, who exactly is going to be responsible for the hostages that we send over there, the refugees who will become hostages to fortune that we send over there? Who will be morally, politically, legally responsible for those? And I don't think that has been thought through. Now, today he's come out and he's given an interview on Sky Television, which I'll replay in a few minutes, in which he effectively, well, not even effectively, he unreservedly calls for Suella Braverman to be sacked. Now, remember, Suella Braverman herself was the Attorney General. So this is one person who has done her job, and he's telling Rishi Sunak that he should sack her. This is a senior member of the Conservative Party is coming out and unreservedly saying that she cannot do her job. I find this fascinating and heartening, because so often in these situations you hear people from the opposition saying, "Oh, she should go. Oh, time to resign. General election now." You very rarely find people from the same party speak out, even if they don't like the person, even if they think they're wrong. They keep their mouth shut. And yet, there are people briefing off record. There are people now briefing on record from the Conservative Party saying that Suella Braverman's behaviour is utterly contemptible and she must go. And it's not just this as an instance of her bad behaviour. There's a whole string of instances. This should be the last straw.
Morning to you, Dominic Grieve. Thanks so much for talking to us. First of all, what did you make of the scenes that we saw on the streets of London yesterday?
The vast bulk of the demonstration on Palestine was peaceful. There was some fringe misbehaviour, which was exactly what the police said was going to happen and predicted. And there were one or two people who were clearly breaking the law in terms of glorifying terrorism, or for that matter, in advocating or supporting terrorism, and they need to be brought to justice. And I have no doubt the police will use their resources to try to make sure that happened. There was then deplorable scenes around the cenotaph by right-wing extremists, and it's impossible to escape the conclusion that some of that was fueled by the rhetoric and the incitement of the Home Secretary in the days leading up to it, when instead of keeping calm and maintaining calm, she raised the temperature, and as the police rightly said, she made community cohesion and community relationships more difficult. And that is the criticism of her. And it seems to me the police are vindicated in their judgment as to how this should be handled in a free society, even if people may disapprove of the demonstration, the main demonstration. And she's shown that she is, in fact, incapable of understanding her duty as a Home Secretary in maintaining the right to demonstrate under the rule of law. And she should resign.
She and her supporters would no doubt say that yesterday was always going to be a sensitive day, given that it was Armistice Day. We don't know what would have happened if she hadn't made her remarks or written her article in The Times. It is possible that we were always going to see scenes like that, given that there are very high emotions around on what was a very significant day.
It's possible, but it doesn't make any difference to her failure to observe proper norms of behaviour as Home Secretary. She had no business trying to override the police in a public way that she did. That was a breach of a fundamental rule in our society, that the police are independent in how they make their judgments in this matter. She tried to bully the police into a particular outcome, and she had no business doing it. She wrote an article which appears to be, on the face of it, in breach of collective cabinet responsibility, and which was, in its own way, inflammatory. And this is all of a piece with behaviour, patterns of behaviour by her that go back over a long period. I don't know what the Prime Minister is going to do, but if he was asking me my advice, I would say sack her. She's clearly unfit to do this particular job.